right, welcome everyone to another exciting episode of the Team Lead Talks podcast. I'm your host out of Alexandria, Virginia, Andrew Becker. On today's episode, we have the co-founder and former CEO, now chairman of the board of Smartphone, an all-in-one phone system that allows sales-driven businesses to make more calls, send more texts, and ultimately close more deals. Welcome, Jordan. Glad to have you on the show, man.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Great to be here. Great to see you again, mate.
Yeah, man. We've known each other for quite some time now, Jordan. We got to reconnect in Orlando recently at one of our Coaching Inc. events, which was really cool. Glad to have you on. I know a lot about you, Jordan, but for my audience that might not know who you are or what Smartphone is, can you give us a high level and then we can kind of jump in here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I co-founded Smartphone about 9 years ago now, and really it's a story of an evolution in some ways as well. Particularly right now, Andrew, we both know that the world of software is evolving faster than ever with AI, and Smartphone's evolving as well. So we started out as really an all-in-one phone system, and we've evolved to being a much wider kind of agentic conversation platform for companies where we're combining your traditional communication tools like phones, SMS, power dialing, video calling, etc., with really amazing agents that can make and receive calls for you and handle conversations for you that are trained in roles that you can hire into your business. And then finally, the third piece of the puzzle for Smartphone is, and this is where you and I got together originally, is being able to sync very seamlessly with your CRM so that all those conversations that you're having, whether they're human or AI, can be seamlessly integrated to where you're keeping all your business data. And that's kind of where Smartphone's evolved to.
Yeah, it's really been an amazing journey that you've been on. Obviously, we have Smartphone integrated into our CRM Billions, which is really awesome. Started out just like you said, phone, text, video conferencing, those kind of things. But now this AI agent stuff has hit. And you and I had a really cool conversation about doing cool stuff beyond what we have already with all your new agentic agent roles and responsibilities. So let's talk about that. That is like obviously a shiny object right now. I think it's going to be here to stay, though. The evolution has come from phone, text to tell us what excited me last time that we spoke, Jordan, what you have going on in your individual agents that you have coming out or that are already out, right?
Yeah, already out. You say something really important there, which is shiny objects. And that's actually, it's great you point that out because voice agents aren't shiny objects. They're actually, and it's actually a really, you bring up a really interesting point right now because they're being treated as shiny objects right now, but they're actually far more fundamental if they're designed and integrated properly. Because true voice agents that are properly trained in roles, have capabilities, have knowledge, and have an element of boundary and rules and associated with them. True voice agents are far more like employees you hire than software you turn on. And they're incredibly exciting because when you develop them in the right way and with the right kind of capabilities and the right understanding and fundamentally core infrastructure, then what you have are voice agents that can outperform people on a day-to-day basis and have genuine conversations that are guided and move towards the resolution that people want. And that's when they move from being shiny objects to being really functional parts of your organizational structure.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important. One thing that you mentioned is like the guardrails that you have in place. And with all this AI stuff, it's like garbage in, garbage out. But the conversation we had, you're mainly doing this. I know you do stuff outside of real estate, Jordan, but for the real estate piece, how important is it to have real estate related questions going in and the knowledge to keep it around so your voice agent knows and gets better and continues to learn day in, day out?
Well, I'll give you one very precise example, and that is I think I told you this when we were talking live, But one of our customers sent me a message now a couple months ago because one of their agents, who happened to be an inbound acquisitions agent, right? So they're to answer calls 24/7. And they had a 25-minute call with a seller. So a voice agent,
Yeah.
an AI voice, had a 25-minute conversation with a seller. Now, why does that matter? And it matters because all of us know if you're talking about real estate investment acquisitions, then talk time is measured for a reason. And that's the reason being that the higher the talk time traditionally, the higher likelihood you're going to get that property under contract. You're going to be able to negotiate a good deal with that seller, right? Because talk time tends to mean relationship time. Now, if you are in a position where your agents are able to have a 25-minute call with someone, that means that that call proceeded exactly like a person would make a call. And what does that mean? It does not mean that the agent followed a script and tried to, like, A goes to B, goes to C, goes to D, goes to E. No, it meant that the agent understood what he was trying to do. And then but the agent was able to flex the conversation
Right. That's
to
key, right?
make a real conversation so that the
Yes.
seller
Yeah.
felt like they were moving a conversation forward. Not just like the measure of a good voice agent is not the capability to sound like a human.
Right.
The measure is the capability to have a conversation that a human would have.
That's so cool, Jordan, because how many times have I been on the phone with like our cable provider? And it's like, hey, this is an AI agent and I'm going to help you. My name's Cindy. I'm like, cool. And then you get so freaking
And
frustrated.
Sydney doesn't do anything for you.
Oh, and I'm just like, Cindy, give me a real person. I want to talk to Jordan. But it's really cool that your system and the way you have it all set it up, it's not just like, let me take this, let me take that, let me take this, like a robot. It's like having an actual conversation like an actual person. And that whoever was on the other end of the line felt so comfortable with that they weren't rushing to hit 0 or 9 or whatever to get to Jordan, the real person.
Well, that's a great point. And the truth is, and people think that that's the measure of success for that is fooling people into not thinking they're speaking to AI. And no, it's not that, because we don't try to fool people. The measure of success is not pretending you're human or fooling people to think they're speaking with a human. The measure of success is the conversation itself.
Yes.
And to your point, well, you illustrate, if you're sitting there and you're on a call with an AI agent and you're like, God damn it, I want to speak to someone because this isn't getting me what I need, that's a failure. And it's not a failure in its ability to sound human. It's a failure in its ability to have a proper conversation. And that's where we've invested a lot of our infrastructure and how we've designed our agents so that when you're calling and speaking with one of our agents, you're able to have a full and true conversation. And that makes a big difference.
Huge difference, like a world of a difference. Because if I called in to an agent that wasn't like what you just described, I'm hanging up and I'm calling somebody else.
Or you're so frustrated that you're like, this company is pissed me off.
Yeah. And right. Way, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're slamming your phone down, going, agent, like, and that is really where the measure becomes important, because it's the ability of the agents to have genuine conversations that move there are multiple ways of looking at this. We're both work a lot with real estate. Now, if you've got a seller, what is the seller calling you in for? Say or a seller has filled in a form on your website, right? And you're a real estate investor, and they're doing that. They're not doing that for no reason, right? They're doing that usually because they've got some sort of need or problem that they're looking for a solution on, right? That's what we all understand. So, there's a pain, maybe they're getting divorced, maybe they've lost their job, maybe there's an illness, whatever the traditional ones are. And they're reaching out because they want their problem solved. So if they're calling you and the conversation is pushing them towards solving their problem, getting them closer to solving their problem, paving the way to solving their problem, then they're happy as Larry that that's happening. But if they're calling in and it's clearly just like yeah, thank you for calling in. So what is your property address? Okay, great. So I'll schedule a call now. Well, you're not actually helping me.
Yeah. Uh, it's
And that's the
helping the
difference.
business owner kind of, Jordan, because they're having this robot, but not in the right way, in the wrong way. And people
And
get
the
frustrated with
performance.
that. Yeah. Performance
Precisely.
wise is, yeah, exactly where I was going. And what your agents solve is like a couple, even like foundation level, not even the sophistication or the complexity of the conversation itself, but just how often, I mean, in our company, sometimes you try your best to answer every single call, but sometimes you just can't. So that is almost guaranteeing. And I remember we were having a conversation about how we used to have our setup where it would call our salespeople, and then after 20 seconds, it went to a live answering service that we were paying $800 a month for, and it was still just, hey, this is Jordan Home Buyers. What's your name? What's your address? We'll have somebody call you back. So now you're bypassing all that. It's making it easier on you as a business owner, and it's accomplishing what the person on the other line wants, is ultimately, I want to be heard. I want to actually, what you said, progress this conversation to get the end resolve. And it's not like, oh, I submitted information on Jordan's website, never got a call. It was some weird bot and I hung up. I'm just even more frustrated now. So you're checking a lot of boxes here.
Yeah, and to your point of the external call center, I don't know a single external call center that does that sort of overflow calls or answering that actually does a good job. I
Yeah.
hate to say it, because they basically, what happens is a call comes in and whatever agent picks up has instructions on how to answer, and they're only going to do the very basics. To your point, what's your name, what's your contact email, what's the address, someone
Why
will
you
call you.
calling? Yeah.
Right? But imagine if you've already sent a lead in and you've already done that and you're having to do it, the frustration level, I mean, you're not helping me. And that's where, like my vision is voicemails should be the thing of the past.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, call centers are going to be a thing of the past as well, because AI is going to be able to do a much better job, a much more scalable job, and to have consistency of performance in a way you're never going to get from a call center.
100%. I'm not probably as dialed into call centers as you are, Jordan, since you're in the telecom industry here, but like, have you already started to see this? Like, I could see you have all these call centers, hundreds of people getting wiped out. Is that not already starting to happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and it's about to accelerate tenfold. And the reason being isn't just because of AI, it's because of the FCC. So the FCC is taking a really big swing right now. Now, this will date the podcast, but at the current day when we're recording this, the FCC is going through some potential rules that they're looking to roll out, which will target foreign call centers. And so if you think that includes VAs. So if you think about all of those VA companies that deal in real estate that are in the Philippines or Egypt or South America,
Yeah.
the FCC is targeting them right now.
Interesting. Yeah. That
And
is a conversation for another podcast.
yeah, well, they're targeting it right now, and that game. And the honest truth is, the FCC may be thinking, oh, well, Americans are going to get those jobs. No, they won't. AI will.
Yeah. 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 Jordan, we've talked about kind of like the overarching use case of an agent, but I know you were showing me kind of very specific, like almost compartmentalized different agents. Can you give us a high level of like what smartphone is currently developing and has coming out soon, in terms of like what, if you're listening right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I need something like this, like what are their use cases and what would people be using them?
Well, so one of the key things is we took the very conscious decision to make role-based agents. And that is for the simple fact that what you want is an agent that can work within your business and accomplish a function. Simply answering the phone's not enough. They have to actually fulfill a role. And so right now, in our smartphone recruitment center, you can hire a couple different agents, and those agents are fully trained in their roles. So you hire them and you can have them up and running in your business in about 10 minutes because they're already trained. They simply need to be taught who you are. You need to tell them who you are and what you do. And so if we think about two use cases that are pretty close to our mutual audiences,
Mm-hmm.
an inbound acquisitions agent, right? Someone calls in, they see a bandit sign, they call in. You need someone who's going to be able to answer the phone, answer any questions, find out about property details, address, information, occupancy, motivation, urgency, all of that sort of stuff, right? And basically get that intake information and be able to then move the conversation to the correct person, right? Out of the box, set up in 10 minutes. Another use case would be property maintenance, right? How many of us have 10 or 20 properties that we own and that we have tenants in? Well, what happens when the toilet breaks at 2 a.m? Well, what's that tenant doing? They're calling you. Well, we have a property maintenance agent that can answer every call from every tenant 24/7, can triage, can troubleshoot issues, troubleshoot heating, plumbing, electrical issues, and then can escalate those issues based on your own escalation rules. Now, again, why is that important? Because it's not just a bit of technology, it's a role that you've brought AI in to execute.
Yeah.
It's not just software, it's a role that is now being executed in your business 24/7.
Amazing, man. And I know we had talked about this before, but for clarification, this AI role or these bots that you can hire through smartphone to plug in, these are only inbound receiving bots, correct? You're not doing any outbound. That's quite illegal, correct?
No, it's not illegal. Outbound is not illegal. And we actually have outbound agents coming in right now. But we've been slower than some people to do them for the simple reason that we are an FCC regulated telecom business. And so we have to pay attention to the rules.
Right.
Outbound dialing by agents is perfectly acceptable within certain parameters.
Okay.
So for instance, outbound cold calling, no bueno.
Okay, let me just clarify. I meant outbound cold calling.
Okay. Outbound cold calling, absolutely
That's
zero.
what I had in mind when I said outbound. I should have been more specific. But okay, so cold calling, no. But you talk about what is appropriate and
Sure. Imagine if you've got ads that point to a landing page on your site and someone puts in their contact details. And right now what'll happen is that'll drop into your CRM, a task be assigned to one of your salespeople, and you're hoping they get to it as fast as possible. Well, with one of our agents that are, some people are already using, then that lead can be called in under 5 seconds, presuming it's within the time zones. Like if they submit that lead at 3 a.m, you can't call them.
okay, yeah.
And but some systems will let you. So outbound in that case, or following up, is perfectly legal, providing you have consent to do so.
That's important, Jordan. You just said something incredibly important that not people know about, but I know you've gone above and beyond to know about and help these people with. What do you mean by that? Can you give us consent is very, very important to mitigate the risk that you are exposing yourself to if you do not have it?
Yeah, so consent in telecoms, you are allowed to cold call people as a human being. I can cold call people, right? So call people without their consent, provided they're not on the DNC list and all, the basics. But the rules change when you start adding technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so AI is very much being treated like text messages right now. You cannot cold text message someone right now. In the United States right now, if you send someone a cold text message and you have no consent to text them, you are in violation. And we see lawsuits and fines all the time. AI is the same thing in that you can, if someone has given you consent to contact them via SMS and AI, then you can follow up and an AI can follow up and make calls and send texts, without really any problem for about a 90-day period. But if you do not have consent, so I see sometimes people have web forms on their website and they don't have consent boxes on them. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? That's not going to play. You've not gotten consent, and if you start sending them text messages, you are just liable to get a fine or to get some sort of penalty imposed on you. So consent matters.
Yeah, there's a big distinction between that too. So if I submit something to your website and you don't have consent, even though I'm asking you to call me, it's still illegal.
It's not consent.
Because it's not technically consent. So it's important to have that box that says you are agreeing to blah, 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 getting reached out by tech, blah, blah, blah. So that is a huge difference maker. And as a business owner, if you're listening, you want to make sure that you are on top of that and that you have a full understanding. And I know Jordan Smartphone does a terrific job of helping with this kind of stuff, getting A2P and just all compliant across the board, right?
Yeah, compliance, the telecommunications, the world of telecoms compliance is only getting stricter
Right.
day after day.
Yep.
And the truth is, can you still use the phone is still the most effective way of getting inside, into your prospects' hands and speaking with them. But there is a landscape of compliance that you have to navigate. And a good company like Smartphone will help you navigate that. But if you just simply ignore it, you got to know that you are opening yourself up for a world of pain. I'm here right now in my office in Romania, of all places, with my team. We just had a couple brainstorms. And I was giving them an example. One of our customers in Smartphone over the last year have been fined or have settled 2 lawsuits, TCPA lawsuits. Total, they have paid out this past 12 months over 2 lawsuits, $210,000.
Man, how important is it to spend the time to just get compliant and make sure that does not happen?
Like, it's not that hard. Compliance
No.
is not that hard if
No.
you just make it a part of your business process. But if you ignore it, you are simply opening yourselves up to a world of pain and risk.
Yep. And you said something that really is important here. The good company, Smartphone included, will help with this. It should be a red flag if we were talking about this earlier too. There are still companies or people blasting 50,000 text messages a day. And, to each his own there, I guess, but that's not the type of business that you or I want to be running.
No, and I mean, you and I, we won't mention any names because that's not who we are. But there are mutual companies we both know that are talking very publicly on forums about how they love blasting 50 or 100,000 text messages because it gets them X amount of leads, and you're just like, okay, but
Yeah. That's only going to last for a little while, I suppose. I don't know, but good luck.
And you know what? The honest truth is the FCC, I will say this right now. So we're in May of 2026. I know that dates us the podcast, but we got to do it. I have never seen the FCC moving as rigorously as they are right now.
Mm.
Genuinely, in 10 years of being in the telecoms business, I have never seen the FCC move like it is right now. It is moving, and it is moving fast, and is moving hard. And it is in your interest to pay attention.
Yes. Or if you're listening out there and you're like, I don't want to have to do that. I just want to work with an amazing company that already exists. Link up with Smartphone because this guy right here, Jordan, and his fantastic team are doing that work for you, helping you not go out and risk your company on doing bad things or illegal things when you really don't have to. Jordan, if someone wants to learn more about Smartphone, more about your agents, more about you, connect, how does somebody reach you? How can they find you?
Absolutely. Well, so the website is smartphone.io. That's SMRTPHONE.io. So Smartphone minus the A. And then, of course, you can always hit me if you want to reach out to me directly. I'm always happy to try and give someone a guide or a help. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm not hugely active in social media, quite honestly, but if people do reach out, I see it, and it's me that responds. I don't have a team that does it because I'm not really a social media guy, but I'm always happy to be as helpful as I can to people.
Very cool. Guys, if you are trying to figure out your telecommunications and you want to go into the 21st century we're in now in 2026 and beyond, if you don't, you're going to get left behind. If you do, you'll probably be all right, if not fine, right? Reach out to Smartphone, reach out to Jordan. I don't know where I was going with that, but we're in the time of AI. This guy right here knows AI like the back of his hand, doing fantastic things. Thank you so much for being on the show, dude.
Great to speak to you again, Andrew.
All right, later, man.